Hello, this video is for those of you who had questions about logging into your ISR account. So I'm going to walk you through that right now. I'm going to put my face over in the corner and so you can see my desktop. Here is the ISR website, and you can Google AASM ISR and then it'll take you right here. And I'm going to log into my personal account as opposed to the account that you see with all of the students. So this is my personal account, and so what you do is right now I think you guys would have September, October, and November available. And so I've already taken August, September, October, and so I'm going to click on November and see what you guys will see when you click on it. So you click on Score This Record, and it'll give you a bunch of reminders. But these reminders are all the same things that you're going to see in your AASM manual that you should have that I've already given you. So, and they are going to reference this manual from time to time, so you can keep it at the ready when you're doing your scoring. So they give you some reminders here, and then you essentially say at the bottom, I agree to these and I want to start scoring. And so this is what your page is going to look like. You're going to see a record, and it will start on the first epoch. Sometimes they call each epoch an epoch, so I've heard it called an epoch or an epoch. And so you see a full montage here. But what I do to start out is I click on Edit Montage, and then I go up here to Stage Only, and then push this back here. This is on Stage Only, and it's also on a 30-second epoch or epoch. And so you know this by epoch duration. You click on this, and we put it for 30 seconds for staging the sleep, and then 120 seconds for looking at the intervals of the respiratory. But I'm going to put it back to 30 seconds. So what you do is you take a look at this, and you do your staging. Now when you do your staging, you refer to your keypad, and you do 0 for wake, 1 for stage 1, 2 for stage 2, 3 for stage 3, and 5 for REM. So I'm going to say this stage is stage 2. And so when you toggle back, and you can use your forward and backward button, it's going to name this stage as stage 2. Now as I look through here and go for my first pass, I'm just going to denote the staging. But you can also see there's sort of a EEG or EKG issue here. So this kind of looks like there's some either placements that is weird or some type of arrhythmia. So take notice of that because it's large enough that you can see it. So I say this is stage 2, and I'm going to continue on. Here's another stage 2. Here is more stage 2. And over here, you see that there is a little bit of a jumble. And if you want to put a demarcation that there is a arousal here, you use the quick buttons Z and X. X is 1 arousal. You can keep hitting X for up to 3 arousals, and you hit Z to -1. Okay? So I'm still continuing on with stage 2. More stage 2. Stage 2. Now if you were looking as to whether you wanted to see if it was stage 3 and you wanted to check, one of the things that you can do is you can take your cursor and see how many seconds the delta waves are, or how many seconds the stage 3 slow waves are. But and it'll give you an increase. But since that's just a K complex, I'm going to continue to say stage 2. Stage 2. And say, for instance, all of this was a delta wave. If you count over 6 seconds, either in piecemeal or when you count a bunch of slow waves, you can denote this as stage 3. I'm also going to say that this is an arousal here and continue on with my scoring. But I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I want you to see some REM. Okay, here we go. Here's where we can, sorry I digress a bit. So here's where we can start counting some stage 3. I'm going to name this epoch 34 as stage 3 because there's even more than 6 seconds here. So I'm going to say 3, and you see a 3 in the corner. So I want to show you guys some REM. There's a lot of stage 3 here, which is exciting. So very often before there is REM, there sometimes is a little bit of a arousal adjustment, but I'm going to give you some classic REM so you can take a look at it for yourself. And as we get further on in the record, you're going to see the REM. As you know, the REM tends to happen later at night. So I'm going to go back here. This looks like stage 3 still, between 2 and 3. So we're going to keep on going. And you see how it gets quieter here? A little bit quieter, because more often than not you move from stage 2 into stage 3. And you see right under here, it's starting to do that mirror image thing. And here's more of that mirror image thing that it does. And so there aren't any K complexes here. This looks more just like sawtooth waves. And this right here is unequivocal REM. Now it looks like the left eye isn't on as well as the right eye is. So the right eye is a little bit more demonstrative for whatever reason. I'm going to say the impedance isn't great here, but this is definitely the mirror image like behavior, and here it is a little bit more classically. Now what you're supposed to see is they're both supposed to be almost identical mirror imaging, but as I said, I think this has low, like the impedance isn't as low as it should be, so here is some stage REM, and this is classic stage REM. So I wanted to make sure you see this. Okay, so after you're finished scoring all of the 200 epochs, because there's just 100 minutes here that you have to score. So this is, we're almost done and we're almost at the beginning here. So you see it goes back to 200 and we're back to epoch 1, which we've already scored. And say for instance you're completely finished and now you want to do the staging. You go to edit montage, you go back to full, so you see the full thing, and then you go to epoch duration and go to 120. And see now we can see the full DSAT, we can see the epochs, we can see here where it goes flatter and then there's a hill and then there's the DSAT, and so you go through and look for the DSATs and maybe the potential arousals and the potential respiratory events. So if you come upon a respiratory event, your quick keys are the Q, W, E, R. So Q is obstructive sleep apnea, and if you press it again, it'll go away. R is mixed apnea. E is central apnea, and R is hypopnea. And if you change your mind, you can hit it again. But those are our quick keys. And also, when you decide one epoch, like say for instance you decided that this had a central apnea, both the central apnea and the DSAT, both epochs you count as the respiratory issue. So as you go through, you can practice, and you get, as I said, 100 epochs to practice. When you are finished, you click exit over here, and it will make sure that you are sure, because it'll tell you to type yes, and when you hit yes, it'll give you your final score. So I'm going to exit out of here, and then I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to show you what happens after you've completed a record. So the one I was just in, it says incomplete, and I've already completed this one for October, so I'm going to go back in, and it's going to give me my score comparison to everyone else's. I have a tendency to hit right between a 94 and a 95 for some reason. That seems to be my sweet spot that I keep hitting over and over again. So when you go in, you go to get the gold standard comparison, and when you click on that, it will give you a play-by-play as to what the gold standard said and what you said over here. It will also tell you all the epics that they disagreed with you on, so you can click on them quickly. But what it will also show you is a video outlining, with a little bit of audio, a video outlining, walking through the record. These are very valuable because someone from the Gold Standard Committee is walking through these with you. And so I want all of you to go in at this point, and I think the first one that you'll see at this point is September. I want all of you to go in and score September, and after you do that, we can discuss it. So go in and score the September record. If you can't see it or have any issues, let me know, and we will discuss it. I will get back to you with questions and or issues soon, but if you have any problem logging in and getting into your account, please let me know. Talk to you guys soon.